So I decided to make my own video on the direct and indirect basal ganglia pathway because I thought the ones that were out there already, maybe they were from PowerPoints, maybe they're from Boards and Beyond, they were a little confusing and hard to kind of orient what's going on and answer the questions like what neurotransmitter does the striatum use in the indirect pathway, and what happens in Parkinsonisms, and what does the subthalamus use? And when you kind of try to follow these diagrams, I couldn't answer them even looking at this right now, or this one, or this one. So let's tell a story instead. The story happens in a coronal field. These are our basal ganglia, so they're involved, and then our thalamus is definitely involved. And the way that we're going to tell this story is through rules. The first rule is that the cerebral cortex has to confirm movements through the striatum. Okay, so the cerebral cortex, we know what that is, confirms movements through the striatum, and that is the caudate plus the putamen. This is now one structure in your head because in the basal ganglia, they act together, and the cortex always confers movements through them using an activatory signal. All right, rule 2. The thalamus will always say yes as long as it's not preoccupied. So we look here. Is the thalamus preoccupied? No. It'll always say yes, and we will always get movement if the thalamus is not preoccupied. There's another rule. The G internus and the SN reticulata get in the way. So I like to think of these as two little annoying teenagers that throw rocks at the thalamus, our king here, and now he can't give out as many good signals. And so my cortex wants to move though. So it says, hey, striatum, can you do something about this? This is where rule 4 comes in. Striatum only knows violence. It only knows inhibition, okay? Inhibition's all about GABA, and it's about violence. Contrast that with yes, which is the glutamate, right? But this is violence. This is serious. So how would you get rid of these people? What do you do in this situation if you want to go at the end of this? Well, you got to get rid of these guys. That's what you do. So the striatum sends a bomb and blows these guys up, and look at that. Our king is happy and says go, 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 and now that is the direct pathway. The direct pathway is simply removing these two characters from the field, and we get, movement because our thalamus is now happy. I have to introduce a new character though, because if it was just this would be a very simple concept and nobody would get confused. There's another character. This is the subthalamus. The subthalamus is actually brothers with the thalamus, and envious, jealous, slimy, does not like the thalamus, and he is too cowardly to even attack the thalamus himself. So instead, he's going to support the guys annoying the thalamus with money. So kind of like, hey, funding an operation, can't even do his own dirty work. And this is bad, right? Because when this happens, the king gets really old, tired, and does not want to move at all. And so when the subthalamus is around, the thalamus does not do anything. It doesn't matter if you use the direct pathway, the subthalamus is going to stop you. The good thing is, though, we have a sheriff. The sheriff will, by default, keep the subthalamus at bay, and that sheriff is the globus externus. So now, this is our new default. Our default is we got two guys that kind of annoy the thalamus. We have a subthalamus that's usually out of the picture, but if he is free, he will pay these guys and inhibit the thalamus. But right now, the direct pathway will work, right? But what if we want to stop? Cortex still goes to the striatum and still does activation, but says, I want to stop, or wants to do a movement that requires stopping. What do you do in this situation? Well, let's look back to the rules. The striatum only knows violence. If I want to stop here, I already foreshadowed it, you need to not remove these guys. You need to get rid of the sheriff that's protecting the thalamus. Because when you get rid of the sheriff that's protecting the thalamus, Golem goes on the loose, and now our king is done, right? Because the sheriff protects the thalamus by keeping us away from the subthalamus. This is the indirect pathway. All right, so direct pathway is inhibiting this, right? I want to go. Let's get rid of these annoying people. And the indirect pathway is I'll get rid of the sheriff protecting our thalamus, like that. There is one more last thing that we have to introduce, and that is the go, go, go grandma. The go, go, go grandma wants to go. She has a nice Honda Fit black for the Niagara Compacta, right? So it's a compact car. That's going to be your Honda Fit. And I said this is the go, go, go grandma. So can you guess which pathway she likes? She likes the pathway that says go, go, go. So she loves the direct pathway. She'll give you a thumbs up for that one, and that thumbs up will be received in the D1 receptor. Now, she really hates when things don't happen, and actually, this is the sheriff's mom, and so when the sheriff gets bombed and the subthalamus goes on the loose and the king goes sad and we get no movement, the go grandma gets really upset and gives you a thumbs down, D2, thumbs down, not good. All right? And with this, you should be able to kind of start answering questions. Now, on a test, I probably wouldn't draw a grandma in a Honda Fit. I would abstract this. So let's abstract this here. We have two inhibitors, globus internus and the SN reticulata, that inhibit the thalamus. We have the subthalamus that really wants to send activating signals, but is stopped by the globus internus. It's almost kind of like in this lasso. And then we have the striatum, similar, the cortex, similar. And then again, this is just a little side character that says that it just supports the go pathway. That's it. It'll inhibit if you are doing the indirect pathway, but it'll promote the direct pathway. So let's try to answer some questions. What neurotransmitter does the striatum use in the indirect pathway? We know that the striatum only uses violence, so it uses GABA. It inhibits, and it acts on the globus externus in the indirect pathway. What gets lost, and what is the effect of the loss of structure in Parkinson's? Well, in Parkinson's, you lose this. You lose the compacta. You lose the go grandma. The go grandma loves supporting the direct pathway and loves inhibiting the indirect pathway, but more about supporting the direct pathway, right? So if you lose this, you won't be able to really inhibit this, and so you won't get movement, right? So you get a hypokinetic syndrome. It'd be similar if you had something like Huntington's. If you got rid of this, now you have kind of bad movement, right? Because you can't inhibit, so you can't go, you can't stop. And then Wilson's would be the putamen. What neurotransmitter does the subthalamus use on and what? Well, it uses an activating neurotransmitter and on the globus internus and the SN reticulata. Why? Because it wants to support their efforts of inhibiting the thalamus. And that's it. You should be able to kind of answer questions like that. They might they might say GABA and glutamate, but if you can keep this straight in your head and abstract this on the test and draw this out quickly, you're good.